The first time ever, Jason Ross, I'm going to actually ask you questions. How excited are you?
I'm excited, Nick. I couldn't bail because I don't want to be treated like the Haslam family. My goodness. I couldn't have that. And we also had one other moment. We had the draft day where you and Rami were out there.
Oh, that's right.
Degrees. We had sweat coming from places we shouldn't. So probably everybody forgot about that. But one other time, but I'm glad to be back.
I think I passed out during the interview. It was that hot. It was ridiculous. JJ had his daughter there. She was hot. Everybody was hot.
People were fainting everywhere.
Yes, and not because you were there. It was because of the heat. And definitely not because of Scott Moak or Kyle Draper. It was because of the heat. All right, let's get to it's almost a year later, Jason. How do you feel about the trade now? And is it any different than you felt when the trade happened?
I'm actually in the same spot. I mean, I'm one of those that obviously looks at things probably in a little more glass half full. And, trades can be in a spot where each team did well. And I think that's what happened. The Pacers made the move because they wanted to build around a young point guard like Tyrese Haliburton. The Kings needed an established veteran, still veteran center, and they got it. It activated Fox to another level here, and Haliburton is thriving. You get off Buddy's contract, but Buddy's doing well there. I think it's a spot, Nick, where both teams are probably today very happy with the trade.
Jason, let me ask you about Hallie. Is he? I think all of us thought, man, what a ceiling this guy has. I think all of us said he could be a multiple-time All-Star if he puts it all together. But is he better sooner than you thought he'd be?
I would say yes, and because I think what that means is, he's probably in the back end of some MVP conversations. Like he's not, and you extend the list out, he would be on there based on how they've played and how he's played. But I can't help but wonder, and he's fast-tracking to an All-Star year this year. I thought he wouldn't make it this soon because I think the Pacers would win. And you have to either be extraordinary stat-wise to be an All-Star on a bad team, but the fact that they're above 500, he's been a key figure in that. That has surprised me. And I think by being on the Pacers, it unlocked him too. He's been given the keys, and he's taken full advantage of that and just been off to a great start.
Jason Ross is with us here on Cattles and Rami. No Rami, he's a little bit under the weather. Jason doesn't only just work the morning show here, as you know. He does a lot of the Kings pregame stuff and post. He's got a million jobs. I don't even know how he has the time to have a family, but he does. Jason, did you find it petty that the Kings, we talked about this earlier in the show, Sean Cunningham tweeted about it yesterday, the Kings marketing material had advertised Miles Turner for the Pacers instead of Hallie for ticket sales. Did you find that at all petty?
It's the funniest, the phrasing. That's exactly what we said. So we're on the post game, and right after they show our beautiful faces, Nick, up on the big screen, there's you and Rami and me and Dave. I'm like, look at us. We look good up there. And then there's like the next game, a reminder. And then you see like, oh, Sabonis makes it. Wait, Turner? Why would you? I just thought they could have done a split screen, even of Buddy and Haliburton. Yeah, I get it. They're not Kings anymore, but there's kind of a belief like, hey, once a king, always a king. So, yeah, petty's a perfect word. I think that's what we said in the commercial break, going, wow, that's weird. Why would – Miles Turner's a fine player, but that's not who you should highlight, especially these guys coming back and you're trying to sell tickets. So, yeah, I think that's a perfect word for that.
All right, Jason, I asked a question at the beginning of this hour. I think it's a difficult question when you think of not only currently but also over the next few years. If you were an NBA GM, which team would you rather have? Which roster would you rather have, the Pacers or the Kings?
I would take the Kings, but this is such a fluid. I think this answer could change weekly, monthly, yearly. I think the Kings right now have been the team that's been a little bit more aggressive. We know their desire to end this playoff drought, so I think they're built in a really good way. I like where their age and salaries are across the board. But I think the reality of it, Nick, is it changes so much, especially for small market teams. And, one of the phrasing on what people would say about maybe why they didn't like the Kings trade is, will they re-sign Sabonis? Well, it does change if they don't re-sign him. But the other part of it is, is there a guarantee that, Tyrese Haliburton is a Pacer for life? Maybe Mathurin becomes the best player on that team and they go, we're doing everything to build around him and we now need a big, and Tyrese is a guy that we can move to get a big in the future. There's so many moving parts, but I guess my short answer now, and a long way to say it, would be I would take the Kings, but I feel like that could change pretty quickly.
Jason Ross is with us, Folsom Lake Honda Hotline, Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. Just a few more for you, Jason. Tyrese earlier today said his words about Sacramento have been taken out of context a million times. How do you think he's handled himself with the media since the trade?
He's hurt. I mean, I get it, and I don't know at what point, and I've interviewed former players and other players that immediate sign of a trade. At some point, you go from, man, this team didn't want me, to this other team wanted me, and I don't think it was ever a situation where the Kings didn't want him. They loved him. Everybody here loved him. I think everybody could see he would be a great player. I think he just wanted to be here. That's what also hurts. He was so likable and still is so likable. So I don't know. I think his feelings were hurt. I'm sure he wants to come back here and score and have a triple-double and win tonight and show the Kings. But I think the Kings know what they had, and they liked him. I think he should be honored in the fact that a non-all-star at his age, a second-year player, helped fetch a all-star at a position that's tough to find one. So I hope he's made it to that part and less upset with the Kings as opposed to, hey, now I'm a Pacer. I enjoyed my time as a King, and now I'm going to have a great career the rest of the way.
Does Hallie get anything but cheers tonight during the intros?
I think that's what it should be. I mean, the Kings fans have done so great with that in the past, and he's as likable as any player. So I would be shocked if he got anything but love.
Jason Ross with us. Do you feel the same way about Buddy's reaction tonight?
I think it will be different. I wouldn't do that. That's me. I mean, there's people upset at Buddy for what? Turning the ball over, maybe making questionable decisions. I mean, that's going to happen. That's what happens on the court. I mean, maybe at times he was maybe not the most likable, but I don't think he's a bad guy. I think he played here. He committed, became the all-time three-point leader. I don't feel like he's in, basically put it this way, Nick, there's a group that's like Jason Terry, Spencer Hawes, that anytime they come back there, they were booed and not liked. I personally don't think Buddy's in that realm. But then Marvin was just here, and I thought he would get booed, but he got booed every time he touched the ball. That really surprised me.
Last one for you, Jason. All the attention, of course, has been about Haliburton and Hield, but I also think this is I don't know if you'd even say a sneaky big game, but I think this is a big game for De'Aaron Fox. The decision to trade Haliburton, a lot of people at the time, a lot of Kings fans especially, said, well, why wasn't Fox the guy to go? There's been constant comparisons between the two. Fox, of course, has had some bad struggles 3 games in a row. He's trying to get out of that rut. How big of a game do you think this is for him?
That's a great point. Sneaky big, like for 2 reasons. One, just that he's attached to the Haliburton part, whether he wants to or not. He just is, but it also helped launch him to, I mean, he's playing at a great level with the exception, as you said, of the last 3 games. And I don't feel like it's the last 3 games. It's just he's struggling. I think he's not right. I think there's an ailment there that he's playing through, which credit to him. But, hey, if you suit up and you play, you're going to get critiqued and evaluated. In the last 3 games, he hasn't been his typical self. So, yeah, I agree. I think this is a sneaky big game for him. And based on his track record, I would expect him to respond. But we'll see in the next couple hours.
Thank you, my man. One more question. Am I going to be brought on to Fun and Games at some point?
Fun and Games?
How about what if you came onto our show so I don't have to get up at like 7 a.m.?
You want to do Fun and Games on the afternoon?
Yeah, we could do it once. I'm not saying like every week. We could do it.
Okay, well, one time. I mean, you know, I can be a sneak category, or you can give me the category, and I can build something around that. What we can slant it towards you. What would you succeed in, and Rami would struggle?
Oh, I don't know. I'd have to think deeply about it. Rami and I have some similarities. I got to think deeply about this.
Well, and I'll involve Jay and Chris. I also want Chris to fail epically.
All right, Jay Ross, I'll talk to you, man. Thanks for the time, buddy.
Thank you.